following is a Jackass Nation production. Subscribe to us on Podbean at jackassnation.podbean.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Loot Crate. Loot Crate is the monthly subscription service for geeks and gamers that delivers epic swag in a box right to your door, guys. You've got to check out Loot Crate. And right now, Loot Crate is giving all of the Jackass Nation and the SCNS Live listeners a discount. All you got to do is go to youtube.com/SCNS Live and go ahead and sign up for your Loot Crate. When you go to checkout, put in the promo code SCNS Live and you will get a discount on your first box. Go get this stuff now, guys. You will not be disappointed.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jackass Reviews, where we talk the hottest films in theater, streaming online, and on home release. Brought to you by the Jackass Nation Podbean channel and in part by the Offshoots Network. Hosted by the Jackass himself, B to the C. On today's episode, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Alright, welcome to Jackass Reviews, our review show where we talk about today's hit movies in spoiler-filled fashion. So, today we are talking Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. If you have not seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 yet, then you need to turn this off and come back to it later because we're going to tell you everything that happened in the film. We're going to talk about it as if you have already seen it, and I do not want to spoil it for you because it's a lot of fun. It's a good movie, but you got to watch it before you listen to this. So this is your first and last warning. We about to spoil some shit. Now, I am joined by the one, the only, you know him from SCNS Live, from Cinelinks, from Nerd Interference, from What the Force. It's Coach Matt. What's up, Coach?
It's me. Thanks for having me, buddy. Yeah, I got to see Guardians of the Galaxy, and now because I got to see it, that means that the prize I get for seeing Volume 2 is I get to be on this show. So, heck yeah, let's do it.
That's right. It's always good to have people on here because no one likes listening to just my voice. Even though normally I just sit here and just ramble on and on and on and on.
I thought you always said you have a pretty voice.
I do have a pretty voice, but people don't like it. I love it. I love my voice. Other people don't.
I mean, it's a fine voice.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know why you have any issues with your voice.
Either way, so we got to see Guardians of the Galaxy this week, and it finally came out. It is the 15th film in the MCU?
Oh, I haven't even counted.
Man, there's so many now.
It's a really good question, though.
But, man, they are really starting to hit their stride, and they're really able to branch out and do things that we never would have thought possible in comic book movies. You know, back in the day, we were excited to get Spider-Man. We were excited to get those X-Men in the black leather. Iron Man was kind of a stretch. Now we have a talking planet.
Yes, it's Ego, the living planet.
And I just accept it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I get that. I buy that. But man, I really enjoyed it. I really like the chemistry in the cast. I think bringing everybody back really works. They really did really good. And from the start, right off the bat, they hit you with that Guardians of the Galaxy feel, and you really start feeling it again.
Yeah, I was really excited that I love the fact that we didn't have to really go into any introductory segments. We didn't have to go through any of that because we know who everybody is. Mm-hmm. So now we get to see them in action. We get to see them being the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. And they're out there helping the Sovereign, the egotistical golden people, and the Oscars, as I like to call them.
That's good.
Yeah, so they were out there, and that was cool to watch. And you're right, it was in perfect fashion because what's Rocket doing? He's currently putting together a stereo. And he's like, I don't think that's important. Like, Star-Lord's like, I don't think that's important. He's like, oh, now you tell me it's not important. Wink. Like, and he's like, I can see you winking. Wink. It was great. And then you don't even see the full battle, but you see Baby Groot dancing around while the battle's going on around him. I loved it. I thought it was so fun.
And we talked about this off air. I was really worried about Baby Groot.
Yeah.
Because I know everyone thought he was so cute and all this and that. I was starting to get tired of it due to the marketing. I was like, I'm over Baby Groot. Let's grow him up. Let's get Big Groot. Is he going to grow up in this? I'm really worried about it. But right from the start, they sucked me back in with that opening scene of him just dancing.
Yeah, they knew what they had in Baby Groot. They saw how people reacted after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, as I like to call it. And they knew that, okay, we gotta push Baby Groot a little bit, get more people into this, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're right. Like, it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel too much. I loved what they did with Baby Groot. At the times where it was all about Baby Groot, it didn't feel too much. It didn't feel like we were just dragging on a little too long. In fact, I loved it. I thought it was great. But in my mind, in my estimation, he didn't really steal the show.
Really?
Yeah. The guys who stole the show, and I say guys, who stole the show...
I think I know where you're going.
Drax,
man.
Drax was fantastic. And it's amazing because you hear what Dave Bautista said recently. He said he actually hated the script when he first read it.
Yeah.
That he was going through it and he was like, oh, I don't really have any great lines. I'm not really doing much in this movie. This isn't great. And then he didn't start to enjoy it. He didn't start to love it until they did the table reading with everybody else. And you could hear the other people's lines and you could hear his own response. And he was like, oh, this is genius. This is great. And it shows. He's fantastic in it.
James Gunn does a really good job of highlighting what's good about Dave Bautista and hiding his flaws. Dave Bautista, he's a real genuine article, man. He'll tell you right off the bat that he's not a good actor.
Yeah.
But James Gunn does such a good job at pulling out what he needs from Bautista and accentuating his strengths.
Yeah.
He really makes it work better with him. And you gotta love that role. He's so good in that role.
And it might be a testament to James Gunn, but the subtleties and everything that he did were beautiful to watch. Yeah. Obviously you've got a monotone guy who takes everything way too seriously, or he doesn't, nothing goes over his head. He
would catch it.
He would catch it. But his moments that he had with Mantis, were amazing. Mm-hmm. They were the best parts because now you're starting to see the softer side of him. And you started to see it too earlier in the film with Star-Lord. When he's talking to Star-Lord and he's like, you need a woman who dances or who doesn't dance.
You need a woman who's as pathetic as you.
Yeah, it was great. and he's talking to Mantis. It sounds terrible what he says, but when you think about it, like, wait, no, he actually... is being sweet right now.
Yeah.
He was like, you are hideous. You are completely ugly. And then later on, he's like, you are beautiful. On the inside. It was amazing. I loved it. I love what went on with Dave Bautista. And then I love Yondu. I thought Yondu, his development in this, I think he had the most development out of everybody. And it was really cool to watch because you saw what he did with the Ravagers.
I really think Yondu's the only one that really got any real character development, which we'll get into a little bit later on. But what they did with him, they really gave you what he's all about and his backstory and everything involved with him.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see his inner workings with Sylvester Stallone's character and the other Ravagers and all that. Yeah,
that was a really cool thing to watch. And yeah, you're right. We'll get to that later. I loved Mantis. Mm-hmm. To me, Mantis stole the show too.
Really?
I loved everything that she did. I thought Plum Clementif, or whatever her name is, it's a really hard name to say. Yeah. She did a great job being that kind of innocent and pure being. But and the reason why I say that she stole the show is because of that, and because she played along and played off Batista wonderfully.
Oh yeah,
and just seeing that dynamic alone, I wanted to see more of it. Yeah. I loved it. I also loved what Rocket did. I know you and I differ on that. I loved Rocket in this because now you get to see Rocket as more of a badass than you did in the first one. You can see that Rocket doesn't necessarily need everybody else.
No.
He can handle his own.
And he got a little bit more character development. Now that when you put in the one scene between him and Yondu, where Yondu's pointing out to him, hey, I know how you feel because we're the same. You get a little bit more feel for his character, and I would have liked more of that scene there. I thought Rocket really, and he was a complete badass, but his little one-liners didn't hit with me as much as they did in the first one.
Bro, you're not saying Taserface?
Taserface was good.
Taserface was great.
Taserface was hilarious, but the
so
rest,
you woke up in the morning, you looked yourself in the mirror, and you said, "My name is Taserface."
Why did you turn Rocket into a Jewish grandmother?
Because I'm a Jewish grandmother. You're not eating enough.
That was good though.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But I don't know. I felt like when they I don't know what it was about it, but it just kind of he felt like he was tailored back a little bit to me. But
I see
his action wise was turned up, and his badassery was turned up. He didn't have all the little one liners as much as I would have preferred.
I agree with you on that. I would say that, I guess because we're in characters now, I'd say Gamora was probably the weakest.
Oh yeah. Her storyline with Nebula, it was like they wanted us to feel something, but you just, and again, we're kind of getting into a couple of the negatives here with me. But that one of my major problems with the film was the fact that Gamora and Nebula, their relationship was touched upon, but it didn't really give us much.
I would disagree in the fact that I like that we learned about the childhood and about how,
but just like the way they just kind of the exposition. This is what happened. We did this, and you did that, and it wasn't earned to me. I think the script could have worked a little better in that.
It could have. I think they were trying to fast forward as much as possible because Infinity War is coming up soon, and you have to have Nebula as part of the fight against Thanos.
Yeah.
So you got to put some closure behind them. So I understand it at that point. But to kind of feel a little bit for what Nebula was going through, the fact that she pretty much got no humanity left inside of her, or whatever she was before that, and now she's all robot pieces because she kept losing to Gamora, and because of Thanos, essentially. So I felt for her in that instance, but I understand what you mean. Like, it did feel a little forced. For me, the Gamora thing though is, it was the whole will they won't they sort of thing.
Yeah,
it was the Ross and Rachel.
It was way too much.
Yeah, it was, and also that scene when we were talking about how Mantis and Drax were sitting on the steps and they were talking to each other, and he was like, "Oh, you're hideous," and blah blah blah, and then Gamora comes out. And she's about to tell him something, but then Gamora comes out and says, interrupts them, and then they go out into the woods or whatever. And she's like, "What were you about to say to Drax? How did you hear that?"
Not even. Well, it was more of I bought that moment right there just because they were mid conversation and they just shut up when she walked out. My problem was, why can't you just tell Gamora too? What's the problem? This doesn't seem to be a reason for you to not say it.
I was also thinking too, if this is a living planet, wouldn't Ego hear everything?
I would assume so, yeah.
That was my thing.
Yeah.
So they're going out to the field and they're just like, "Oh, by the way, he's trying to kill everybody."
Right?
And then Ego would have just been like, "Suck you up, you're dead. Suck you up, you're dead." And yes, we've trailed off into negatives, and we might as well stay here because I think the other negative I had was there were some plot holes. And it was easy to see the plot holes. And one of the biggest ones is whenever you've got Peter and Kurt Russell, which I think Kurt Russell did a fine job. It's Kurt Russell. He can't ever really do anything wrong. But there's a moment where he's showing Peter everything, and Peter's on board. And it's mainly because of mind control or what have you, whatever it is that Ego's doing.
He's seeing the power that he holds.
Sure.
He's drunk on that power.
Exactly.
So he's in on it.
At that moment, the last thing you need to say is, "I put a tumor in your mother's brain."
Yeah. See, that really was, him saying it made no sense, but I loved that moment. Because all of a sudden, everything goes away, and he all of a sudden picks up that, oh, God, what's that dude in Mortal Kombat X, his finisher move where he just clock. The guy with the revolvers.
I don't remember.
I can't
want to
think
say
his
Johnny
name.
Cage, but
No, it's not Johnny Cage.
No.
But he just starts blowing the crap out of him.
Yeah. That was amazing. I love that part. Yes.
But I can see, you're right, it made no sense for him to tell him that.
To me, it's like, well, do what you gotta do. Destroy everything. Make everything ego. And then be like, oh, by the way, I put a tumor in your mom.
Yeah.
Psych! And now,
when,
Peter can't do anything about it because he's the only person left along with ego.
Yeah. And when they started, when he turns him into the little battery thing and stabs through him, and they go to Earth.
Yeah.
Man, I was waiting for some kind of cameo in those scenes.
Sure, right?
I really was. Like, you need to show somebody. Somebody's like, what the hell's going on? Like, Doctor Strange, Tony, somebody.
I can't remember. Yes, they needed to as well. That was the perfect time for them to do it. But I'm wondering.
Phil Coulson and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right? I can't remember, though, and remind me, what happened to the sludge, or whatever that little monster thing after
They never
Ego?
showed.
Okay. So now,
it either,
in the middle of, whatever the heck they were,
Missouri,
there is just this giant sludge
unless
thing.
we're just supposed to assume that it disappeared after Ego was destroyed.
Okay, if that's the case, okay, cool, whatever.
Maybe, I don't know. They never really showed that.
Yeah. Okay, if that's the case, all right, cool, whatever.
But then, one of my other negatives is the fact that the story was very basic to me. And it really followed your very, very basic plot points of, guy finds out something, girl doesn't quite trust him, he gets mad at her for not believing when she's right anyway.
Yeah.
It's that same old tale as old as time we've always heard and seen played out, and I think they could have played it out a little bit better.
Sure.
But I get their reasoning.
I would agree with you only for that, for the Gamora and Star-Lord deal. Everybody else, I thought it was great. I thought the story flowed well. A few of my friends were like,
it's all the ego father and that whole
that part. I 100% agree with you. It was very basic, very cliche. But I would say that everything else, I liked the way it went. You look what happened with the Ravagers. You look what happened with the Sovereign. All that, getting to see all those other little things. And having multiple bad guys, not just having Ego.
Oh, yeah.
The Sovereign, too, being that kind of comically bad villain was great. And I had all these friends that were telling me, oh, I didn't like the Sovereign. They were pointless. They could have been without in the movie.
I'm not going to lie to you. Finish your thought first.
I disagree. I 100% disagree with that statement, because you look in the bonus scene, they had a reason for being there.
See, that's where I was going to go. I thought they were pointless. I was like, why are we going back to these people, man? Why do we keep seeing it? They mean nothing. We don't need these people anymore. We're done with that storyline. Until that scene when you realize they're building Adam Warlock.
Yes.
And that's when you go, all right, I see why they were there.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's my thing. I agree with you. They could have been without it, and it's fine. But honestly, I think it makes the movie better with them there.
Once you get to that final scene, then yes, you did need them. But you have to get to that post-credit, that one of the 5.
Well, it also is a motivating factor, too.
Yeah.
Because they are trying to leave. They got to get out of that area because the Sovereign are going crazy, and they're trying to kill them. And now they have to jump to this other area.
That jump thing was weird.
The jump thing was awesome.
I was like, what is this?
That was awesome. And I love that Stan Lee is a watcher.
A watcher.
Yeah.
Officially, we know now. Stan, which in some way, shape, or form
makes so much sense.
Makes the X-Men, the Fantastic Four,
yep.
the original Spider-Man, everything. It's all Marvel universes.
Yep. I love when he's just like, "Hey guys, I got more stories to tell."
They got bored and they start walking away.
We'll get other things to do.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Yeah,
man.
that was good. That was good. Yeah, so let's talk about. This is your show, so you talk about whatever you want to.
Conversation goes where the conversation goes.
I do want to talk about the importance, and I guess the how we're talking about how the story was a little cliche at times, but it was also a lot more deep than it was in the first one. Because in the first one, it was all about, let's introduce these guys, let's get it done, let's show them all together, the action, it's fun, we got to show an Infinity Stone, all that. In the second one, they put it behind them, and you really got to feel a little bit for all of these characters, not just Star-Lord. And yeah, it's obvious that the deep aspect of it came from the father-son relationship deal. But it also came from a lot of other things, too. Yeah. You know, we were talking about Rocket. We were talking about Baby Groot at times. Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of things that they really wanted to get taken care of now, where you saw that character development of all of them. And Yondu was a big part of that. Yeah. You know,
the decision to kill off Yondu
was, oh man, it's tragic.
Something that I really don't like.
Yeah.
Because, man, he was my favorite character in the first one. And I was really looking forward to him being a part of the team going forward.
Yeah.
And so, and the whole story arc of when he's going up there and he's saving Star-Lord, and he tells you, hey, he might have been your father, but I'm your daddy.
Oh,
it hurt the feels, man. It got me. It got me in the feels. And you know what? I didn't tear up. I didn't do it until Rocket goes, they came.
Mm-hmm.
And you see all the Ravengers.
Yeah.
And when Sean Gunn starts doing the salute, that's when I teared up and I started crying. Because it got me right there.
And you got to see Sylvester Stallone just be like, and he even said in the beginning, and his cameo was a cameo, but it was he was nice.
One of the okay. Him, Ving Rhames, Miley Cyrus, the Diamond Dude. They were the original Guardians. That's what their characters were. Yeah. The original lineup of Guardians. That's who they were.
And so it's cool that they showed them back together again. That was awesome. But I just going back to Sylvester Stallone for a second, you're right. Like Yondu, that was the fact that he showed up was amazing. But whatever, it kind of accentuated all that. Whenever he came up to him, he's like, you know, we had to excommunicate you, but we didn't want to. Mm-hmm. You know, like, and so for them
you broke the code.
But you broke the code. Sylvester Stallone's the man, okay? Yeah. Like, he's an amazing actor.
He is.
And he's only gotten better with age.
And he should have got the Oscar.
He should have got the Oscar. He totally should have. Because then you could have been like, Oscar award-winning Sylvester Stallone is in this. But
stupid Mark Rylance.
Right. But yeah, no, I absolutely... It hurt to see Yondu die, and I kind of saw it coming. We all kind of did a little bit whenever it was just him and Rocket. Mm-hmm. But
I was like, there's going to be a way. Because when it opened up and they're dragging Drax with the spaceship, I got mad at that. I'm like, okay, so we just don't have rules of death. Like, everybody there are no stakes in this. We're just all going to live. That's fine.
Well, Drax is different. He is different.
Okay, but after watching that, at no point in that movie am I ever going to be like, oh, Drax is in danger. So that takes away the stakes watching that. I was like, that was a little cartoony. It was also cartoony when Gamora picks up that big-ass gun.
That was extremely cartoony.
Yeah, if that wasn't since it wasn't The Rock, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I wasn't into that at all. And that's another reason why I thought Gamora was weak in this one. Yeah,
But then seeing it, he dies out there in space, and you're just like, ugh.
The entire time I was hoping there was going to be a moment like there was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 where it's just like, oh wait, we can save him. But then you think about it and you're like, well, technically he doesn't have the blood of a living planet inside of him, so I guess he can't do that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's tragic to see him die, but with his death comes another character that I think it needs to get a little bit more props than a lot of people are giving him. And that's James Gunn's brother, Sean.
Yeah.
He was just a bit character in the first film. And now he's getting kind of that star role. Not star, but he's getting more of a spotlight.
He was really good.
I loved him in it. I thought he did great. And you know what's funny is, I know a lot of people are going to take away my man card for this. I've watched all of Gilmore Girls. But you look at Sean Gunn's career, that's where he really started, was in Gilmore Girls. And he started as an extra.
Could not tell you that. Did not know that
Yeah,
at all.
He started as an extra, and then he became an actually billed cast member that they would put on the opening credits every single week, even if he didn't do much. But he was the best part of that show because he was the comic relief in that. Then he did nothing for a long time. And now you've got Guardians of the Galaxy with his brother, and he had an extra role. He did a bit role in Volume 1, and then boom. Now he's starting to get that top label cast.
Yeah.
You know, that creditation, not credentials. In Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And it's cool because it's like he's becoming the new Yondu.
He is. Well, I don't
in a
think
way,
he'll be as cool as Yondu.
No.
He's there.
He's doing that, and you saw that in the extra scene.
Yeah, with him trying to learn to use the whistle.
He stabs Drax.
During the credit, were you really paying attention to the credits?
Yeah.
When they would show someone's it says I am Groot instead of someone's name. That was great.
Did you see Jeff Goldblum?
Jeff Goldblum dancing. Yep. That was incredible too.
To me, that makes me think, okay, that's cool because Jeff Goldblum has a place amongst this universe of space people because that's where Thor is going to be. It's going to be on a whole different planet.
And when you watch that Thor Ragnarok trailer, you get a Guardians feel to it with the space stuff in there. So they did a good job. All right, we're going to go into our scores here.
Yeah.
And you know how the score works. We take the score that we would put on Cinelinx.
Yeah.
And then you have a possible 0.5 bonus, a Jeebus bonus, as you will, to get the Jeebus score. So, Matt, what did you get? Because you did the review on Cinelinx.
I did the review on Cinelinx. Okay. The review I did on Cinelinx, I gave it a 4.4.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty high already.
That's pretty high.
So I don't think I necessarily need to because I think I've already instilled the Jeebus points on there. And I would say that I instilled the Jeebus points on Drax, Mantis, and Yondu and the development of Rocket.
Okay.
Or the Trash Panda, as we like to call it.
So is that better? Yeah, it's better. No, it's not.
It's not. And I love that dynamic, by the way, where nobody understood any of Peter's references. I love that.
The Pac-Man, the He-Man, everything.
Yes.
Oh, that was great.
And then, like, I'm Mary Poppins. Like, is Mary Poppins cool?
Yeah, he's really cool.
He's really cool. Hey, guys, I'm Mary Poppins. Like, all of it was awesome. So I would give it the 0.5. For all of that.
Oh, okay. A full Jeebus bonus.
Yeah, so I guess I would say it would be a 3.9 with a 0.5 of 4.4. Boom, math.
All right, that one's good. I gave it a normal score of a 3.3.
Okay.
And then we're giving it a 0.3 bonus for Baby Groot and the Feels. That gives us a Jeebus score of 3.6.
I apparently was way more generous.
Galaxy volume. Yeah, well, you know, I don't go too high. It's really hard to get up high. To get really up there, you got to be Empire Strikes Back or The Godfather Part 2.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to get a really high score from me.
I've only ever given a perfect score to Legend of Zelda, and that was a video game.
Yeah.
I've never given a perfect score to a movie. There's too many flaws. Too many flaws.
And no movie is without sin.
No.
As Cinema Sins like
even
to say.
Force Awakens. No movies without sin.
Exactly. The Rathars. Matt, well, go ahead. Tell Jackass Nation where they can find you.
You can find me, as he's plugged in the beginning of the show, you can find me at Move the Joystick. You can find me on SCNS Live every Thursday at 8 o'clock. You can also find me on Cinelinx.com for all your news, reviews, editorials, and more. Keep it on Cinelinx.com. You can also find me on Nerd Interference every other Saturday, as we have done a show already, so go listen to that one. It's the audio version you can find on the Jackass Nation Podbean channel. And you can find me in a whole new show called What the Force Podcast, live from Nerdvana. It's going to be live starting on Friday in a couple of weeks.
That's right. It's going down. Y'all know how to get a hold of me. Hit me up on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and now the Xbox Live at Real Jackass BC. That's RealJackassBC.
I have one more place you can find me. We're doing a new series. It's not a new one, but it's an annual series that we do on for E3. It's the Cinelinx Road to E3. We're doing 2017 this year. That's going to be starting up very soon. So keep an eye out for that on Cinelinx.com.
I'll be going out to LA with you for
You are going out. Yeah,
fun,
we're going to have a good time.
Hell yeah. So that's been our review of Guardians of the Galaxy. Y'all let us know what you guys think. And we'll be back for the next Jackass Reviews, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be Alien Covenant.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll do one for King Arthur. I don't know. Depends on how I feel after I see it. However, I've heard good things about it.
Really?
Yes. So.
Okay, cool, because I'm seeing it on Tuesday.
Yeah. It'll be a game time decision if I do one for that. So we'll see.
Cool.
Other than that, we'll see you next time right here on Jackass Reviews.
That's your theme song.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to Jackass Reviews on the Jackass Nation Podbean channel, as well as the Offshoots Network. Come back next time for more opinions on film from the Jackass. Follow BC on Twitter at RealJackassBC.